You gotta be kidding me. That's frozen solid. Good. Man.
Updated. Please check it on the map.
I think it's a big bass, like big. Dang it. Look at this pre-spawn tank. Look at this pre-spawn. So I've made it to the lake I'm going to be fishing today, and this is going to be home of the first NHKF tournament this year, and I cannot wait. It is a little bit chilly this morning. It was 26 degrees at 5 o'clock this morning when I woke up. Now it's about 33 degrees. And on top of that, the low temps are going to get down to the mid-20s at night. But I'm still hopeful I can come out here and catch some bass. Now, the past like 6 times I've come out, I've either skunked or I've only caught pickerel. So I'm really hoping to try to catch some bass today. Now, my kayak really isn't fully rigged up yet, so I really need to get to stepping and get on that. But I'm kind of crossing my fingers the Army Corps of Engineers will unlock the gate, fix the road, and we'll be able to fish this tournament. I actually kind of had to go through the back of the lake through the woods here. All right, so the lake I'm going to be fishing is called Hopkinton Lake. Now, a lot of people just call it Stumpfield Marsh. As you guys can tell, it's pretty shallow and there's stumps a lot of places. And I think this is the first time I'm gonna be actually fishing this spot with no weeds. As you guys could tell with the drone, there's like not a single lily pad that has grown up yet, and that kind of totally makes sense considering how cold this spring has been and will be for the next week. I don't know why either, but there are a bunch of dead bluegill over here. Like there's one floating out there. Oh. This place is pretty shallow, so what I think I'm gonna do is use a Texas rigged weightless Senko. And I'm gonna be using it with 65-pound braid. Now, I definitely don't always recommend using 65-pound braid with a weightless Texas rig, but at this specific spot, as you guys see, with all these stumps, a bigger bass can easily get stuck in these stumps and snap you off. So I'm trying to prevent that with the braid. Another thing too is I have to cut out a bunch of line. I should probably do that right now. I'm in a paddle kayak, obviously, with no electronics, and the other half of this lake, it actually is pretty deep, and I kind of have to pick and choose. I don't really have time to be switching between the shallow area here and that deep end over there with a paddle kayak during a tournament. So I kind of have to pick an area and really methodically go through that area and get as many bites as I can. Because it's not like I have a trolling motor where I can just pop that thing on high and bust over to the other side in like 10 minutes. Take about a cast worth of line off. Really? Well, I had something there. Who knows what it was? Let's grab the old spinnerbait. This is a 1/2 ounce War Eagle spinnerbait. I would kind of prefer 3/8 of an ounce with how shallow this water is, but with this 1/2 ounce, I'm gonna have no problem bouncing off those stumps down at the bottom, that's for sure. And that's kind of the goal. Alright, so I've been fishing now for over an hour with the weightless Texas rig Senko. Then I switched over to that War Eagle spinnerbait. Now what I think I'm going to do is retie this jig. And I'm going to put a 3/8 of an ounce chatterbait on it, black and blue. Now my buddy has done pretty well here in the past on a black and blue chatterbait, and that's what he kind of told me to use. He thought it would work pretty well today, so I'm going to take his advice and see what I can do with it. Alright, this is a Project Z weedless, and the reason why they call it a Project Z weedless is because of this weed guard. And I think that'll kind of come in clutch when fishing around these stumps and whatnot. Another dead bluegill. I wonder why there aren't any birds or bass picking those off. So many dead bluegill. Do a little bit of a switch up. Move away from the chatterbait, and I kind of already know I'm going to be using the wacky worm, but what I'm more or less doing now is kind of ruling out this area. There's fish in the area. I have a feeling they might hit on this wacky worm, and if they don't, I might just kind of eliminate a portion of the lake for the tournament, because it has been so cold in the spring, and it will be so cold up until the tournament. I don't know if the bass are going to be pushed up this shallow quite yet. Nice. First cast with the wacky. I didn't even get it halfway back and I'm snagged up again. I see this. Oh.
I'm trying to see what I'm snagged on right there. Last cast on the wacky worm. All right, actual last cast on the wacky worm. All right, we're gonna switch back over to the Texas rig worm. Oh man, I thought it was gonna be way bigger than this, but better than nothing. First fish today is a pick on the Senko, Texas rigged. Now the only problem with that was my last Senko. I have the 4-inch. It's not going to be heavy enough. Let's try a flute and white pearl. Ah, little pick. I'm not gonna lie, I thought he was way bigger than this, but tiny little pick. Fishing now for roughly 2 hours and only those 2 pickerel to show for it. I've had a couple more bites other than that. More than likely they were both pickerel. We're gonna throw out the wacky worm for a little bit. Why not? Do is switch back over to the chatterbait. No, I'm not. I'm gonna switch over to the spinnerbait. A little bit of breeze now, not a cloud in the sky. I think it's decent spinnerbait conditions, but yeah, we'll see if we catch a fish. Please be a bass. Please be a bass. Trying to keep his head up. He's not jumping, so it's probably a pickle. It's probably a pick. Oh, it's a bass. Oh, I think it's a big bass, like big. Dang it. Dang it. Sir. Why hit now? Why hit now? Look at this pre-spawn tank. Look at this pre-spawn tank. Oh man. I thought it was gonna be a dead zone out here. Didn't fight very hard, I'm not gonna lie. Alright.
There we go. I hope you guys can read that. 5 pounds, 10 ounces. All right, 5, 10, 20 and a half. 20 and a half. All right. Definitely pre-spawn with those eggs. Look how big she is. Whoa. Got one. A little pick or what's going on? Damn. Little pick. Well, pick on the spinnerbait. Just do this. So that is it for the chest cam. It's only gonna be you guys behind me. And I've been fishing now for about 3 hours. And although I do have that really nice largemouth bass, I can't really count on duplicating that during the tournament. That's kind of like a one-off. To be fair, if I caught like an 18-inch largemouth, I'd honestly feel a little bit more comfortable with that I could replicate during the tournament. But to try to replicate another 20 and a half during the tournament, that might be pretty hard to do. That being said, with that pickerel and the big bass being here, there are fish in this general area, so I probably will end up coming back here during the tournament. But just to conserve battery, what I think I'm going to do is leave the chest cam off just for the time being, and then I think maybe in an hour or two I'll probably put a battery in. I don't know if you guys can see that all the way behind me there, but I think I'm gonna head all the way to that bridge because I have figured out I am gonna be here for the tournament, so I'm not gonna waste any more time here. So the next plan is to head all the way to that bridge and see if I can pick off some over there by the stumps. Oh, there we go. Oh, it is a bass. Yes, sir. Thank you. We're not gonna get too fancy with the bump. 14 inches, that's not bad. That's really not bad. Honestly, now I know as almost a backup plan, if all else fails, I can come back here towards the end of the tournament, maybe catch a 14-incher on a spinnerbait. So that is it for this morning, and overall it was a pretty good day. I guess this is actually the only day before the tournament that I can practice, so I think I did figure out where I'm going to start. Now where I'm going to start is roughly where my buddy started last year, and he said it took him about 25 minutes, but I'm hoping I can get there in 20 only because I'm not quite going as far as he did. So a 20-minute haul to the first spot is really not that bad. Now, there are a few things that I definitely have to do before the tournament, like get more Senkos. And not only get more Senkos, I think I might actually switch things up and either use a Magnum Senko, like a 6-inch plus Senko, or a Magnum Fluke. I haven't really decided yet. After how today went, I'll be honest with you guys, I'll be happy with 3 12-inchers. The only problem is 3 12-inchers are not going to help me towards Angler of the Year standings or get in the top 3 for money. There are just some really good bass fishermen in this league, and they will find them. It doesn't really matter how bad the conditions are and how bad that I do. There are a couple people in the league that will definitely get on the fish. That being said, I started off the day with a Senko, and I believe that caught me 1 pickerel. Then I moved to a spinnerbait, nothing in the stumps. Then I moved to a fluke, and that actually caught me 1 pickerel as well. And while I was using the spinnerbait is when I caught that nice, like 5 3/4 pound bass. But the spinnerbait I was using was from War Eagle. It was a 3/8 of an ounce in the mouse color. And on the back of that, I had a Kayak, I think it was a flash minnow, a silver flash minnow on the back of it. And I think those two paired up together look really good underneath the water, so that's what I'll be rocking for the tournament. And thankfully, I managed to catch that big bass. That's definitely my first big bass this year, and I was struggling the past 6 times out, so to catch that 1 big bass this time, I'm pretty happy about that. But I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Peace.